The star-filled display stretched across the command center's primary screen, a vast canvas of darkness interrupted by pinpoints of light. Among those distant stars, something moved, something that wasn't supposed to be there. Admiral Park Tai-ho watched, his weathered hands clasped behind his back, as the alien vessel emerged from the darkness of space. The massive ship appeared first as a shadow against the stars, then as a gleaming construct of metal and energy that dwarfed anything humanity had publicly admitted to building. Its arrival sent ripples of tension through the United Earth Defense Command Center, but not surprise. They had been waiting for this moment. "Signal incoming," announced Lieutenant Han, his voice steady despite the historic nature of the moment. "It's broadcasting on all frequencies, sir." Tai-ho nodded, his expression remaining carefully neutral. "Put it through." The holographic display shifted, and a figure appeared, distinctly alien yet possessing a vaguely humanoid shape. Its voice translated into perfect English, though the tone carried an artificial quality that made it clear this was machine translation. "People of Earth," the alien began, "we are the Stellar Coalition, a union of civilized species spanning this galaxy. We have watched your development for centuries. Your primitive nature and violent tendencies make you unsuitable for independent status among spacefaring races. You have 30 Earth days to accept our protection and guidance as a client species, or face the consequences of rejection." Colonel Kim Jae-yun stood beside Tai-ho, her dark eyes narrowing, as she studied the alien's features on the screen. Her fingers moved across her data pad, analyzing every aspect of the transmission. "They're broadcasting this worldwide," she reported. "Every television, radio, and digital device is receiving it." The command center remained silent as the message repeated in multiple languages. Tai-ho could feel the weight of history pressing down on this moment, but he also felt something else, a sense of satisfaction. Everything was proceeding exactly as Director Lee had predicted it would. "Send the prepared response," Tai-ho ordered, his voice calm and measured. "Let's play this exactly as planned." The response was simple, a request for time to consider the offer, a show of appropriate fear and confusion. It was what any primitive species would do when faced with such an ultimatum. The fact that Earth's major military powers had been preparing for this exact scenario for decades would remain their secret for now. Behind closed doors, the real work began. Deep beneath the mountains and oceans, hidden facilities hummed to life. In bunkers across the globe, sealed orders were opened. The machinery of humanity's true military might, carefully concealed from both their own population and alien observers, began to move. "They're scanning us," Jae-yun reported, watching as her instruments tracked the alien vessel's energy emissions, looking for military installations, weapon systems, anything that might pose a threat. Tai-ho allowed himself a small smile. "And what are they finding, Colonel?" "Exactly what we want them to see, sir. Our surface technology appears exactly as primitive as they expect. The masking systems are working perfectly." The Admiral moved to the tactical display, studying the position of the alien vessel. Everything about its placement, its approach, even its choice of communication showed arrogance, the confidence of a superior force dealing with primitives. They had no idea that humans had recovered one of their crashed ships decades ago, that Earth scientists had been reverse engineering their technology for years. Director Lee's foresight was remarkable, Jae-yun commented, joining him at the display. 50 years of preparation, hiding our true capabilities, all leading to this moment. The director understood something fundamental about humanity, Tai-ho replied. "We work best when we're underestimated. Now we have 30 days to prepare our response, and they won't see it coming." In the following hours, as panic and fear spread across the public channels, Earth's hidden defense network quietly came online. Satellites that appeared to be simple communication relays revealed their true nature as weapon platforms. Asteroid mining operations transformed into military shipyards. The careful deception that had kept humanity's true technological progress hidden was about to serve its purpose. "Sir," Jae-yun called out, we're detecting more ships entering the system. The Coalition is positioning forces around all major population centers. Tai-Home nodded, watching as new contacts appeared on the tactical display. Each alien ship represented both a threat and an opportunity. Every moment they spent in Earth's space was another moment of data collection, another chance to analyze their capabilities. "Let them come," he said quietly. "Let them think they have us cornered. In 30 days, they'll learn what humanity is truly capable of when pushed into a corner." The command center continued its work, maintaining the facade of a frightened primitive species while beneath the surface, humanity's real strength gathered. The Coalition had made a fatal mistake. They had given their intended victims time to prepare, not knowing that preparation had begun long before they arrived. The first day of the 30-day ultimatum was drawing to a close, and Earth's greatest deception was only beginning. The aliens who thought they were pushing humanity into submission were actually pushing them into a war they weren't prepared to fight. The galaxy would soon learn why that was a terrible mistake. The flash came without warning. In an instant, the island of Madagascar, home to millions, vanished beneath waves of alien energy. The Coalition's demonstration of power was meant to shatter human resolve. They had chosen their target carefully. An island large enough to demonstrate their power, but isolated enough to minimize global impact. They had gravely miscalculated. Lee Sun-woo watched the destruction from the Global Defense Initiative's primary command bunker, buried deep beneath the Korean peninsula. His face remained composed, but his hands tightened on the edge of the control panel until his knuckles turned white. "Begin evacuation protocols," he ordered, his voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "Get our people off the surrounding coastlines before the tsunamis hit." The bunker erupted into controlled activity. Warning systems activated across the Indian Ocean region, giving populations time to reach higher ground. The Coalition would see this as another sign of primitive but adequate disaster response technology. They would never suspect that the evacuation systems had been designed and refined over decades, waiting for exactly this moment. "Sir," his aide reported, "civilian casualties are minimal. Our early warning systems activated the moment the Coalition ships began powering up their weapons." Sun-woo nodded. The loss of Madagascar's land mass was devastating, but the majority of its population had been quietly evacuated in the preceding days. The Coalition's sensors had detected the movement of people exactly as planned. They had interpreted it as panic and flight, never realizing it was a coordinated evacuation. "Activate Protocol Sentinel," Sun-woo commanded. "All installations, full emergence." Across the planet, the Earth began to move. In the Rockies, entire mountainsides shifted to reveal massive hangar doors. Beneath the Sahara, sand dunes parted as defense platforms rose from their hiding places. The Amazon's dense canopy split open as hidden installations awakened from their decades-long slumber. The Coalition's sensors would be going crazy now, detecting sudden power signatures where none had existed before. Their careful maps of Earth's military capabilities were becoming obsolete by the second. In the Antarctic, massive thermal shields powered down, revealing the true scope of human military production. Factories that had been running at full capacity for years, their heat signatures masked to appear as nothing more than geological activity, now showed their true nature. "The Coalition fleet is responding," reported Admiral Chen from the tactical station. "Their ships are moving to investigate the new signatures." Sun-woo allowed himself a small smile. Let them look. It's time they saw what they're really dealing with. The underground factories that had been producing advanced weaponry for decades increased their output. Assembly lines that had been running in secret now operated in the open, completing the final stages of projects long in development. In orbit, satellites that had appeared to be simple weather or communication platforms shed their disguises, revealing weapon systems that matched or exceeded Coalition technology. The careful deception that had hidden humanity's true capabilities was no longer necessary. Sun-woo made his way to the United Earth Council's emergency session. The massive chamber, built to withstand any attack, was filled with the world's leaders. Many faces showed fear, but others displayed the grim determination he had come to expect from those who had been part of the preparation. The coalition made a crucial mistake, Sun Wu explained, standing before the assembled leaders. They judged us by our civilian technology. They never found our real capabilities because they never thought to look deeper. Their arrogance blinded them. He activated the main display, showing the true extent of Earth's military preparedness. Hidden fleets emerged from underground oceans, ships that had been built and crewed in secret. Defense platforms deployed across the globe, creating an interlocking network of protection. For 50 years, we maintained the illusion of normal technological progress. Sun Wu continued. Every public advancement was carefully calculated to appear natural, while our true developments remained hidden. The coalition saw exactly what we wanted them to see. The room filled with murmurs as the scale of the deception became clear. Even many world leaders had not known the full extent of the preparations. They destroyed Madagascar thinking it would break us, Sun Wu said, his voice hardening. Instead, they gave us exactly what we needed: justification. The world's population is angry, united in a way we've never seen before. The coalition expected panic. They expected submission. What they're about to get is humanity at its most dangerous, focused, prepared, and fighting for survival. The display showed coalition ships scrambling to respond to the suddenly changed situation. Their formations, once confidently spread to intimidate, now tightened defensively as they tried to understand the true strength of their intended victims. We are no longer hiding, Sun Wu concluded. The coalition wanted to push humanity into submission. Instead, they've pushed us into a war they aren't prepared to fight. And they're about to learn why that was a terrible mistake. The United Earth Council rose as one, their decision unanimous. The time for deception was over. The time for humanity to show its true strength had begun. The red planet hung silently against the backdrop of endless stars. Mars had always been humanity's first step toward the cosmos, but today it would become something else: a battlefield. Captain Kang Minji stood on the bridge of the EDS Aegis, watching as her crew prepared for what was coming. Coalition fleet detected, her sensor officer reported. Multiple signatures emerging from faster-than-light travel. They're following the expected approach vector. Minji nodded, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. The Earth Defense Fleet had positioned itself in Mars' sensor shadow, using the planet's natural magnetic field to enhance their stealth systems. 30 ships, the best humanity had built in secret, waited in perfect formation. All ships maintain position, she ordered. Let them come to us. The coalition fleet appeared precisely where expected. A group of 15 warships, their silver hulls gleaming in the distant sunlight. They moved with the confidence of an overwhelming force, spreading out to begin their standard search pattern. Their sensors swept the space around Mars, looking for the primitive defensive satellites they expected to find. Minji watched the enemy ships, noting their formation, their movement patterns. Everything about their approach spoke of absolute certainty in their superiority. That certainty was about to cost them dearly. Target lock confirmed on all vessels, her weapons officer reported. Phase shift torpedoes are armed and ready. Send the signal, Minji commanded. Let's show them what humanity can do. The Earth Defense Fleet emerged from hiding like ghosts, becoming solid. The coalition ships reacted immediately, energy shields flaring to life, but they were protecting against the wrong kind of attack. Fire. The phase shift torpedoes launched simultaneously from the Earth fleet. These weapons, developed in secret over decades, represented humanity's greatest technological achievement. They didn't try to overpower shields or break through defenses. Instead, they simply shifted slightly out of normal space, passing through energy barriers as if they didn't exist. The coalition ships never had a chance to adjust their defenses. The torpedoes phased back into normal space inside their shields, detonating against their hulls. 3 enemy vessels erupted in silent explosions before they could even begin to respond. All ships, engage, Minji ordered. Execute attack pattern Alpha. The Earth Defense Fleet moved with practiced precision. They had trained for years for this moment, running endless simulations based on data gathered from that long-ago crashed alien ship. Every maneuver, every tactic was designed to exploit weaknesses the Coalition didn't know they had. The Aegis led the charge, its advanced engines pushing it through space at speeds the enemy clearly hadn't expected. Coalition ships tried to adjust their formation, but they were too slow, too predictable. Their commanders had never faced an enemy that could match their technology, let alone exceed it in some areas. "They're trying to regroup," Minji's tactical officer reported. "Their formation is breaking down." "Press the advantage," she commanded. "Don't give them time to adapt." The battle unfolded across the void, a dance of ships and energy weapons. Coalition vessels fired their main weapons, but Earth ships slipped between the beams with unexpected agility. The high gravity of Earth had shaped not just human bodies, but their approach to space combat. Their ships were built to handle stresses that would tear apart Coalition vessels. Minji opened a channel to her fleet. "Remember your training. They think they're fighting primitives. Show them what humans can really do." The Earth fleet split into smaller groups, attacking from multiple vectors. Coalition ships, used to fighting in rigid formations, struggled to respond to the fluid, unpredictable movement patterns. Their commanders had never faced an enemy that fought like this. Coalition flagship is attempting to coordinate their response, communications reported. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies." "Let them talk," Minji replied. "It won't help them now." The battle continued, the void filling with weapons fire and debris from destroyed ships. Coalition vessels, their supposedly superior technology proving inadequate, began to retreat. Their neat formation had dissolved into chaos. Minji watched as another enemy ship succumbed to phase shift torpedoes. The Coalition's vaunted energy shields, which had protected them for centuries, were worse than useless. They drained power that could have been better used for engines or weapons. "Enemy fleet is attempting to disengage," Tactical reported. "They're aligning for faster-than-light jump." "Let them go," Minji ordered. "Let them run back and tell their leaders what happened here." The remaining Coalition ships fled, leaving their dead and damaged behind. The Earth Defense Fleet held position, watching as their enemies disappeared into faster-than-light travel. Minji looked at the battlefield display one final time. Of 15 Coalition warships, 8 had been destroyed, 3 severely damaged, and only 4 had escaped relatively intact. The Earth fleet had lost 2 ships and taken damage to 3 others. Better odds than even their most optimistic simulations had predicted. "Send word to Earth Command," she ordered. "The first battle is ours. The Coalition now knows we're not the easy target they thought we were." Her crew worked efficiently around her, securing systems and beginning repairs. They had trained for this moment their entire careers, preparing in secret while the world thought they were merely satellite technicians or cargo pilots. The Coalition had made a fundamental error in their assessment of humanity. They had thought that a species that evolved on a high-gravity, high-radiation planet would be too primitive to challenge them. Instead, those very conditions had produced a race of warriors who were now more than ready to fight back. Commander Song Jae-won stood in the tactical analysis room, surrounded by holographic displays showing hundreds of combat encounters between Earth and Coalition forces. For weeks, he had studied every battle, every maneuver, searching for a pattern. Finally, he found it. "Look here," he said, gesturing to a particular display as Admiral Park watched. "Every Coalition fleet moves the same way. When attacked, their ships form identical defensive patterns. When attacking, they use the same approach vectors. It's like they're all reading from the same manual." The Admiral studied the display, his eyes narrowing as he saw what J1 had discovered. "They have no tactical flexibility." "None," J1 confirmed. "Their command structure is completely centralized. Every fleet commander follows the same protocols, makes the same decisions. They've never needed to adapt because they've never faced an enemy that could challenge them, until now. The discovery changed everything. Earth's military leaders had been fighting the coalition as if they were facing an enemy that thought like humans. Instead, they were facing an enemy that thought like a computer, predictable, programmed, inflexible. J1 developed new strategies based on this insight. Earth's ships began fighting in smaller groups, using hit-and-run tactics that the coalition's rigid command structure couldn't effectively counter. They attacked from unexpected angles, withdrew before the enemy could form their standard defensive formations, then struck again from different directions. Their technology is superior, J1 explained to his fleet commanders. Their ships are faster, their weapons more powerful, but they don't know how to handle enemies who don't fight by their rules. The Earth fleets adopted tactics from humanity's long history of warfare. They used strategies from ancient naval battles, from guerrilla campaigns, from modern special operations. The coalition, with their perfect formations and textbook maneuvers, had no answer for an enemy that refused to fight conventionally. In the Kuiper Belt, Earth ships hiding in asteroid fields would emerge to attack coalition supply lines, then disappear before reinforcements could arrive. Near Venus, human vessels used the planet's thick atmosphere to mask their approach, striking enemy formations from below when the coalition never expected an attack from that direction. They're starting to show frustration, J1 reported, reviewing data from recent encounters. Their commanders are trying to adapt, but their command structure won't let them. Every tactical decision has to be approved up the chain, and by the time approval comes, we're already gone. The coalition's attempts to counter Earth's new tactics only proved J1's point. They would develop a response to a particular strategy, only to find that human forces had already changed their approach. While coalition commanders waited for new tactical directives from their superiors, Earth's officers made decisions on the spot, adapting to each situation as it developed. "Sir," a junior officer called out, "Coalition fleet detected near Jupiter's moons. Standard patrol formation." J1 smiled. Standard was exactly what he wanted to hear. "Deploy strike groups 3 and 4. Let's show them another new trick." Earth ships emerged from hiding spots around Jupiter's moons, attacking the coalition patrol from 6 different directions simultaneously. The enemy commander followed standard protocols, attempting to form a defensive sphere, exactly as J1 had predicted. "Strike groups 5 and 6, execute attack pattern Delta," he ordered. More Earth ships appeared, striking through the gaps in the coalition's formation that always appeared during their standard defensive maneuvers. The enemy ships, trying to maintain their perfect spherical defense, couldn't react quickly enough to the threats appearing in their blind spots. "They're breaking formation," Tactical reported. "Coalition commander is requesting instructions from Central Command." "They'll never get those instructions," J1 said. "Hit them again before they can reorganize." The battle ended quickly. The coalition ships, unable to adapt without explicit orders, were picked apart by Earth vessels that moved and fought with complete tactical freedom. It was another victory, but more importantly, it was proof that J1's analysis was correct. Later, in his report to Earth Command, J1 explained the full significance of what they had learned. The coalition's greatest strength, their unified command structure and standardized tactics, has become their greatest weakness. They've spent centuries fighting enemies who either submit immediately or try to match them ship for ship. They don't know how to fight an enemy that turns their own tactics against them. The war had entered a new phase. Earth couldn't match the coalition's numbers or technology, but they didn't need to. They just needed to keep fighting in ways the enemy couldn't predict or counter. The humans who had evolved on a harsh, challenging world had learned to adapt to survive. Now they were teaching that lesson to the galaxy's most powerful military force. "Their ships are technically superior," J1 concluded his report, "but their crews lack adaptation skills. They've never faced an enemy that thinks like us. And that's why, despite all their advantages, they're going to lose this war." The coalition had started this conflict expecting an easy victory over primitives. Instead, they found themselves fighting an enemy that refused to behave like any species they had encountered before. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their ships or weapons. It was in their ability to adapt, to think differently, to find new ways to fight when the old ways didn't work. The meeting took place on neutral ground, a space station orbiting Europa, Jupiter's ice-covered moon. Kim Do-yeon walked through the station's corridors, her footsteps echoing in the artificial gravity. The diplomatic mission had been unexpected. No one had anticipated any species from the coalition wanting to talk. The Artaxian waited in the conference room, its crystalline form catching the light from Europa's ice-reflected sunlight. Do-yeon had studied their species extensively, a silicon-based life form with a society built on precision and logic. Of all the coalition species, they were the most likely to recognize patterns and act on them. "Thank you for agreeing to meet," the Artaxian said, its translation device converting complex harmonics into human speech. "What I am about to share will change the nature of this conflict." Do-yeon sat down, maintaining the calm composure that had made her Earth's top diplomat. "I'm listening." The coalition lied about why they attacked Earth. The Artaxian began. The story about humanity being too primitive was a cover. The truth is, they attacked because they were afraid. The revelation wasn't entirely surprising to Do-yeon, but she kept her expression neutral. Afraid of what? Your rate of advancement, your adaptability. The Artaxian's crystalline form shifted, creating patterns that Do-yeon recognized as signs of agitation. Most species take thousands of years to progress from discovering electricity to achieving spaceflight. Humanity did it in less than 2 centuries. Do-yeon thought about the hidden technological advances humanity had made, the ones the coalition still didn't know about. Continue. The coalition leadership saw your potential and panicked. They analyzed your history, your biology, your planet, Earth's harsh conditions, the gravity, the radiation, the climatic extremes, created a species that adapts faster than any we've encountered. The Artaxian displayed a holographic timeline, showing humanity's technological progress compared to other species. The difference was striking. Where other races developed in steady, predictable patterns, humanity's advancement looked like an exponential curve. "Even now, you prove their fears correct," the Artaxian continued. "Your combat strategies, your technological innovations, you've achieved in months what takes other species years. The coalition's standard tactics are useless against your methods. So why are you telling me this?" Do-yeon asked, though she already suspected the answer. "Because the Artaxian collective has voted to withdraw from the coalition. We recognize that their fear-driven attack on Earth was both illogical and wrong. We wish to establish separate diplomatic relations with humanity." The implications were enormous. The Artaxians were the coalition's primary weapons developers. Their withdrawal would significantly impact the enemy's military capabilities. "Other species are watching," the Artaxian added. "They see how humanity fights, how you adapt and innovate. Many question the coalition's decisions now." Do-yeon spent the next several hours discussing terms with the Artaxian ambassador. They covered technology sharing, trade agreements, and military cooperation. The Artaxians offered access to their advanced manufacturing techniques in exchange for studying humanity's adaptive strategies. "Your species thinks differently," the Artaxian observed. "Where we see problems to be solved with existing solutions, you imagine new possibilities. It's fascinating." News of the Artaxian defection spread quickly through the galaxy. Within weeks, other species began making diplomatic overtures. The Meridians, masters of faster-than-light technology. The Kylox, experts in energy manipulation. Each had recognized that humanity's potential as an ally outweighed the coalition's demands for loyalty. In her report to Earth Command, Do-yeon emphasized the shifting political landscape. The coalition's attempt to contain humanity has backfired. Their fear of our potential has become a self-fulfilling prophecy. By pushing us into war, They forced us to advance even faster than we might have naturally. The Artaxian ambassador's words proved prophetic. More species broke away from the coalition, drawn by humanity's demonstration of adaptability and innovation. Each new ally brought different technologies, different perspectives, different opportunities for advancement. The coalition sought to prevent humanity from reaching its potential, Du Yian wrote in her final report of the day. Instead, they created the perfect conditions for us to exceed it. Their fear of our advancement caused them to take actions that only accelerated it. Earth's diplomatic corps worked tirelessly, establishing relationships with each new ally. They learned that many species had their own doubts about the coalition's rigid structure and fear-based decisions. Humanity's resistance had given them the courage to break free. The war's tide had turned, not through military might alone, but through the very qualities the coalition had feared. Humanity's ability to adapt, to think differently, to find new solutions to old problems. These traits were now drawing allies instead of enemies. They tried to contain us, Du Yian told her staff, but they didn't understand that adaptation isn't just about technology or warfare. It's about building relationships, finding common ground, turning enemies into friends. That's humanity's true strength. The galaxy was changing. The coalition's grip on power weakened with each new defection. The species that had tried to prevent humanity's rise to prominence had instead become the architect of its own decline. The fear that had driven them to attack Earth had created something new, a growing alliance of species united not by force or fear, but by the recognition of humanity's unique potential. The coalition homeworld loomed ahead, a fortress world surrounded by the largest defensive fleet ever assembled. General Yun Ha-Wan stood on the bridge of the Earth flagship Guardian, studying the enemy formations. Beside her, the crystalline form of her Artaxian second-in-command glowed with anticipation. "Their defenses are exactly as we expected," Ha-Wan said, gesturing to the tactical display. "Rigid, predictable, perfect." The combined Earth-Artaxian fleet hung in space behind Saturn's rings, using the ice and debris to mask their numbers. Thousands of ships waited for her command, humanity's vessels alongside their new allies' crafts, each bringing unique strengths to the coming battle. "They still follow standard defensive protocols," the Artaxian observed, its crystal structure shifting in what Ha-Wan had learned was amusement. "Even now, they cannot adapt." Ha-Wan smiled. "Then let's show them something they've never seen before. All ships, execute Operation Thunderstorm." The fleet split into 3 groups, each moving in patterns that would appear chaotic to coalition observers. Human ships darted between Artaxian cruisers, their movements synchronized in ways that defied traditional space combat doctrine. "The coalition is responding," Tactical reported. "Their fleet is forming a defensive sphere around the homeworld." "Just as planned," Ha-Wan said. "Begin Phase 2. The first group of Earth ships charged forward, appearing to attempt a desperate breakthrough. Coalition vessels moved to intercept, their formation shifting exactly as Ha-Wan had predicted. They never saw the real attack coming. Hidden within the rings of ice and rock, specially modified ships activated their gravity drives. The debris field came alive, millions of chunks of ice and stone accelerating toward the coalition fleet. It wasn't an elegant attack, but it was distinctly human, using the environment itself as a weapon. "Coalition shields are holding," her tactical officer reported, "but their formation is breaking up as they try to deal with the debris." "Now," Ha-Wan commanded, "all ships, execute your assigned attack vectors." The combined fleet struck from multiple directions, each group targeting specific weaknesses in the coalition's disrupted formation. Human ships dove through gaps that shouldn't have existed in their perfect defense, while Artaxian vessels used their advanced weapons to pick apart the enemy's command and control systems. "Their coordination is failing," the Artaxian second-in-command noted. "They cannot maintain tactical cohesion without direct orders from Central Command." Ha-Wan watched as the battle unfolded according to her plans. The coalition fleet, the largest ever assembled, was coming apart. Their rigid command structure, once their greatest strength, had become a fatal weakness. "Launch the boarding teams," she ordered. "Target their command center." Special Forces teams, composed of both humans and Artaxians, struck at the Coalition's central command station. Their approach was hidden by the chaos of the main battle, their tactics combining human ingenuity with Artaxian technology. Humanity's greatest strength, the Artaxian observed, watching the operation unfold, is not your technology or your numbers. It's your ability to see opportunities where others see only obstacles. The battle raged on, but its outcome was already decided. Coalition ships, unable to receive new orders as their command structure crumbled, fell into disarray. Some attempted to flee, others fought on with increasingly ineffective standard tactics, and some simply surrendered. "Coalition's central command has been secured," came the report from the boarding teams. "Their leadership is in custody." HFY looked at the tactical display one final time. The mighty Coalition fleet lay in ruins, defeated not by superior numbers or technology, but by their own inability to adapt to humanity's unconventional strategies. "Send word to Earth," she ordered. "The Coalition homeworld is ours. The war is over." In the aftermath, as she walked through the captured Coalition command center, HFY reflected on the journey that had brought them here. The Coalition had attacked Earth believing they were preventing a future threat. Instead, they had created exactly what they feared, a humanity united and strengthened by adversity. "You know," her Artaxian second-in-command said, "the Coalition spent centuries ensuring every species fought the same way, followed the same tactics. They never considered that their uniformity would become their greatest vulnerability." "That's the difference between us," HFY replied. "Humanity learned long ago that strength comes from diversity, from being able to adapt and change. The Coalition tried to impose order on the galaxy. We showed them that true power comes from embracing chaos and finding ways to use it. The war that was supposed to suppress humanity had instead revealed their greatest strengths to the galaxy. The species that evolved on a harsh world, constantly adapting to survive, had proven that flexibility and innovation could overcome even the most overwhelming odds. The Coalition's defeat wasn't just a military victory. It was a triumph of the human spirit, of their ability to turn disadvantages into strengths, to find unconventional solutions to impossible problems. They had shown the galaxy a new way of thinking, of fighting, of succeeding. And as HFY looked out at the stars from the captured command center, she knew that this was just the beginning. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not through conquest, but by proving that adaptation and innovation were stronger than rigid power. The massive starship docked at Earth's orbital station, its crystalline hull reflecting the blue glow of humanity's home planet. From his office in the Interstellar Military Academy, Admiral Park Min-seok watched as another group of alien students arrived for training. 5 years after the war, these arrivals had become routine, but they never failed to remind him of how far humanity had come. The latest class includes representatives from 15 different species, his aide reported, reviewing the manifest, including 3 former Coalition worlds. Min-seok nodded, remembering how differently things had looked just a few years ago. The Coalition's attempt to subjugate Earth had instead united the galaxy in unexpected ways. The same adaptability they had feared in humanity had become the foundation for a new kind of interstellar cooperation. The Academy itself stood as a symbol of this transformation. Built from the combined knowledge of Earth and its allies, it housed training facilities for species from every corner of known space. In its halls, crystalline Artaxians studied alongside humans, while energy-based Meridians shared insights with silicon-based life forms. "Admiral," a voice called from the doorway. "The Galactic Council session begins in 10 minutes." Min-seok made his way to the council chamber, passing groups of students in the corridors. He heard snippets of conversation in dozens of languages, all discussing the same things: strategy, adaptation, innovation. The very qualities that had helped humanity survive were now being shared across the stars. The Galactic Council Chamber represented another change. Unlike the rigid hierarchy of the Coalition, this new alliance operated on principles of mutual respect and shared learning. Representatives from every member species sat in a circular arrangement, symbolizing their equal status. The Academy's success exceeds our expectations. Min Seok began his report to the Council. Our approach of combining different species' strengths and perspectives has produced results that none of us could have achieved alone. The Council members listened intently. Many of them had fought against Earth during the war, but now they sought to learn from humanity's unique approach to challenges. We teach more than just military tactics, Min Seok continued. We teach adaptation, innovation, the ability to see solutions where others see only problems. These were the qualities that helped humanity survive on our challenging world, and now they're helping create a stronger, more resilient galaxy. The training programs at the Academy reflected this philosophy. Instead of enforcing standardized methods like the Coalition had done, they encouraged students to combine different approaches and develop new solutions. The results had been remarkable. 5 years ago, Min Seok reminded the Council, the Coalition pushed us into war, thinking they would find an easy conquest. Instead, they created something unprecedented. A galactic community united not by force or fear, but by the desire to learn and grow together. The changes went beyond military matters. Earth had become a center for technological and cultural exchange. The same adaptability that had made humans dangerous in the Coalition's eyes now made them natural intermediaries between different species and civilizations. In the Academy's simulation chambers, students from water-breathing species worked alongside those who breathed nitrogen. In the research laboratories, beings of pure energy collaborated with silicon-based life forms. Each brought their own strengths, their own perspectives, their own solutions to shared challenges. Our greatest strength, Min Seok told the Council, isn't our technology or our military power. It's our ability to learn from each other, to adapt and grow together. The Coalition feared human adaptability because they didn't understand its true value. The Council session concluded with reports from various member worlds, each sharing stories of progress and cooperation. The galaxy was changing, growing in ways the Coalition never could have imagined. Later, watching the sun set over Earth's horizon, Min Seok reflected on the irony of their situation. The Coalition had attacked Earth to prevent humanity from becoming too powerful. Instead, they had created exactly what the galaxy needed: a species that could bridge differences, adapt to challenges, and lead not through force, but through innovation and understanding. The lesson was clear, written across the stars themselves. Never underestimate humanity's capacity to rise to a challenge. The species that had been marked for subjugation had become the galaxy's protector, turning attempted conquest into an opportunity for leadership. And as new ships arrived at the Academy each day, bringing students eager to learn humanity's lessons, Min Seok knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was entering a new era, one built not on fear of difference, but on the strength that comes from embracing it. The Coalition's greatest fear had become the galaxy's greatest hope. Humanity's adaptability, the very quality they had tried to suppress, was now lighting the way toward a future brighter than any species could have imagined alone.